President Trump announced a measure that would reopen the government for 3 weeks. But 800,000 federal workers have already missed a second paycheck and have gone without pay for more than a month. CBS News correspondent David Begnaud is at Chef José Andrés' World Central Kitchen in Washington, where they're helping provide to furloughed federal employees. David, thanks so much for being with us and for bearing witness to all that's going on there. Tell us about the day.
The day started at 11 a.m. Well, no, we actually got here at 6 a.m. when they were preparing the food in the kitchen. At 11 a.m. they opened the doors, and I got to tell you, there was probably 200 people in line by 10:30, right? And at 12 noon, there was probably 500 people in line, and there were 200 to 300 people in line all afternoon until just recently. Let me kind of take you on a tour of the place. So these are all volunteers, and a lot of them that you see behind the counter are actually government workers who have been furloughed. So you come through the line, there's some coffee here. I'll even take you in the kitchen. As we go in the kitchen, there is this map which sort of highlights where the World Central Kitchens are around the country. You've got California, one in my home state of Louisiana. There's one in Puerto Rico, and also on the East Coast. In the kitchen, by the way, I should let you know that World Central Kitchen is paying for every piece of food, every bite of food that is purchased locally, and they get all their money from donations. And the good folks back here have been cooking up some really tasty food since 6 a.m. this morning. So they package it here and then they ship it out. And what they had today was soup, a sandwich, or some snacks if you wanted that. As we walk out, there is a place next door which has been giving diapers, feminine products, dog food, and legal advice. You know, Tanya, this is really interesting. You may have heard people say on social media before the president spoke today, why don't they just boycott, not go to work? Well, it turns out there's actually a law which says if a federal employee does that, you may be permanently barred for ever working for the federal government again. So these attorneys were telling government workers today, you may not want to boycott. You may want to sit tight, sit at home, don't do anything crazy. A lot of people we also talked to were trying to find a second job. So they were driving for Uber or Lyft. And we're actually walking down the line today that was really roped around the building. But things have really quieted down as a lot of people are now starting to ask, so what next? When do I go back to work? When is the paycheck going to deposit into my account? José Andrés, who always attracts a crowd, let me see if I can grab him. He was telling me earlier, David, I don't care what the president says, I don't plan on closing immediately, at least not tonight and probably not tomorrow. Yeah, we're live on CBSN. Can I make it quick? I just wonder, now that the president has said that he wants to open up the government, do you plan to close your kitchens?
Okay, this location, number one, World Central Kitchen, we're going to be here at least until next Friday. We're going to wait until the federal employees receive their paychecks. We're going to hear from them. And hopefully by next week, all will receive their paycheck in their bank accounts, and then we'll decide. But at the very least, until next Friday. We are asking many of the private businesses around 25 states by now, more than 160 restaurants right now, to please stay open next week, also until Friday, the few hours that they open every day to provide a plate of hot food or sandwich to the federal employees. And then we're going to watch and see. But obviously, we're going to be really asking our politicians to remember what happened here in Pennsylvania when we had 11,000 federal employees a day waiting in line for a plate of hot food.
Speaking of politicians, you've had Speaker Pelosi, Amy Klobuchar was here today, the mayor of D.C. was here, all Democrats. Have you had any Republicans come?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking to Senator Lamar Alexander. He wanted to come next week, but we didn't make it yet, so I was hoping he was going to come. We had the Texas senator who supports
William Hurd.
Yep. He was here next to Congressman Kennedy himself. Right. They were breaking bread together. They spent over 2 hours serving food. So we had small successes of showing that Republicans and Democrats, above all, are Americans.
Of course, you would bring out the best in everybody. Thank you, pal.
Thank you.
Thank you, as always. Tanya, tonight, special CBSN, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, stories of the government shutdown. Initially, we had planned this to be about, the tough spot that people were in. Well, now there's a ray of hope. But we're still going to talk to those people, but the stories are now changing as they start to wonder, how fast are things going to get better for me?
David Begnaud, thank you so much. So fun talking to Chef Andrés, all that he's done with World Central Kitchen. It's just amazing. It's also amazing that U.S. government workers are now at the other end of all of his charity there. And David, I also want to give props to your amazing camera person who was able to stick with you through lots of light changes there and did an amazing job.
Gabe Stick, she's giving you a lot of credit for walking and talking.
So,
He's
David,
smiling.
Thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you again tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Tanya.
Once again, as we mentioned, tonight at 8 Eastern, David hosts Voices of the Shutdown. What's next from Washington? He will talk to furloughed employees living without pay because of the partial closure of the federal government. You can stream that tonight right here on CBSN.